Now, in this video, I will explain to you how I managed to get out of Ukraine during the war. It wasn't easy, and also there was a bit of intuitive and luck that I managed to get out in a way that wasn't really too complicated, but I had a lot of challenges. So let me tell you the story. Hi guys, it's Infinity and welcome back to the Infinity Experience. I haven't been in touch with you for a long time, and you know why? Because of the war in Ukraine, and I was trying to figure out what to do. In my last video, I was in Lviv telling you the situation in Lviv. And today I want to tell you how I managed to get out from Ukraine to Poland. At the moment, I am living in Poland, Krakow. So on the 20, I think on the 21, in February, you started to hear the news about Russia is going to invade Ukraine, and the Russian military is increasing on the borders. So there was a lot of tension in the city of Kyiv. I could see people, running to the bank and taking a lot of cash. The pharmacy was, packed with people buying medicine. It's just the usual standards when there was an expectation of a war. So at that moment, I kind of had an intuitive feeling that I should get out of Kiev immediately. So I booked my train from, Kiev to Lviv on the 22nd of February. And I left everything, behind. I only took with me my cat, Fluffita, as you know. And Fluffita and I, we went, on the night of 22. We took the train from, the Vauxhall station in Kiev to Lviv. It was a very peaceful journey. Not many people, actually. I just arrived there, and it was the 23rd of February, like in the morning. Lviv looked really peaceful, beautiful. I was really, impressed by the architecture, and the people are amazing and much friendlier actually than the people in Kiev. Anyhow, I decided to settle down in Lviv. So I looked for a flat, and I rented the flat. I paid deposit, and I said, okay, I'm gonna stay in Lviv. Nothing gonna happen in Lviv, even if the war going to start in Ukraine. On the 24th, we heard the first invasion from Russia to Ukraine. And at that moment, I really felt that, my intuition was absolutely accurate, that I just left in time. And at the time, the invasion was starting, at the outskirts of Ukraine, from Donetsk to the neighborhood area. And then life in Lviv looked very normal in spite of the, what's going on in the eastern side of Ukraine. I know people weren't really, panicked. Everything was normal. So the first week was very peaceful. And then we started to hear the sound of siren in Lviv. That was on the after a week in the morning, and that means that there was an air, a Russian planes in the air, and when you hear that, you need to go to the shelter immediately. So I took Fluffita and I went to the shelter nearby where I live. We stayed for 1-2 hours, and then after that we had to go back to the flat. And then after a few hours, again, we heard the same sounds, and I had to go to the center, to the shelter, and stay there. And slowly, as the Russian invasion started to advances in the Ukrainian cities, starting from Kharkiv and the other cities around the city, I started to notice that there was a panic as well in Lviv. So people again started to run to the banks, take the cash. The pharmacies are packed by people. Like, just you see a queue of people queuing. I don't know if you've seen the video previously, but I showed something similar about this. And also, all the shops were shut down, so you can't do shopping, you can't do anything. There was only two things you can do. You can do shopping and buy medicine, and it was very difficult to do that at the time. You had to wait for 1 or 2 3 hours to get your spot in the pharmacy or in the supermarket. So the situation started to get really, stressful. I couldn't really concentrate. I couldn't focus on my work. So I called the landlord and I told him that I don't feel any more comfortable in Lviv. What do you suggest? He said, come to my flat, come to us. Very nice people. And he told me you can stay with us and as much as you want. So I took Fluffita, I packed, what stuff, I had in this flat. And I took a taxi and we went to this, neighborhood. It's a bit outside of Lviv, the city called Yarov. I'm sure you heard about it in the news recently. So as we were going inside this town, I started to see like a lot of military people, and there was checking point. And I asked the driver, "What is this?" And he said, "This is the place where and they do training, military training for Ukraine. It's one of the most famous ones." I said, "Oh my God!" I went from you know one place to the worst, worst one, from worst to worst. And I met the landlord of my flat in Lviv. He took me to his flat, his family, amazing people. They looked after me. They were really nice people, and I stayed with them around 2 days or 2 3 days. And during the 2 days, there was a lot of siren sound where we had to go and again hide in this little tiny room under their flat where they keep, food, onion and potato and stuff. And this started to become, a routine. Like every 3 hours, we have to wake up if we are sleeping and whatever we're doing to immediately go downstairs and wait until the signal come on the phone, and then you have to go back to the flat. Then I said, this is too much. I decided to, okay, I need to get out of this country immediately. The situation feels very uncomfortable. So I spoke with the landlord and I told him, okay, what is the best way for me to get out from Ukraine? He said, the best way is to go to Poland. Poland is very close to, Lviv or the city where I was, Yarov. But he said it's very hard to do it by taxi or by bus because there was a queues. It will take 5 6 days. He said your only option is to walk. I said what? I said yeah. He said yes. Your only option is to walk. And I said how long I need to walk? He said maybe 6 7 8 hours. It depends. At the end, I said, fuck it, let's do it. This is the only option. If I walk, it's much better than just staying in this place. At least I am moving forward, to the safety place. So the landlord knows the area very well, and he took me to a road, a place where actually no one will go there because there is no infrastructure. There is no structure. The roads are not really designed for cars, and there's a lot of trees and through kind of like a tiny forest, up hills and down. And he said this is the easiest way for you, a shortcut to get to the Polish borders. So what we did, I took my cat and my bags, and we went with his car, just enough where he can still be able to drive, by car. And then he dropped me, in nowhere place, and he told me you just have to walk straight. So That was the most challenging part of my story. I started to walk with, Fluffita and two bags, and we start to walk and walk and walk, and it wasn't an easy journey. I mean, the experience was like really challenging. Like, I walked almost 7 hours. Just I kept walking and walking and walking until slowly I started to see a glimpse of people, cars and buses, and then I discovered, or I realized, that
We are very
I am very
close to
close to
the
the
Polish border,
Polish
and
borders.
we are
I
going
made
to
some
walk.
videos. I think I'm gonna show you a
It's
little
much
bit. You can
faster.
see the videos as I am talking. And when I, arrived to that point, I felt relaxed, and I said, "That's it.
Only
I'm
1 hour
safe
from
now.
here
I
to
just
Poland.
need to, continue, and
So many
soon I will
people.
be out of this country,
Walking is the best option.
Ukraine. I still love Ukraine in any situation, by the way, guys." So I then, walked around like half an hour, and I start to see a lot of cars, and people with me are walking with cats, dogs, you name it. And then slowly the numbers start to increase from 100 to 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. It was very crowded. So there, we had 2 points to cross. We had the Ukraine border, and we had the Polish borders. On the Ukraine borders, we were like standing like in packs, in the groups. So what they do actually, they tell you to wait maybe 1 hour, 2 hours on the borders. It was raining, snowing, minus 10, like so cold. To me, at that stage, you just have to accept the concept of, being freezing. You have no choice. So at the end, after 2 hours, they opened this, gate, and they say, run, and for 1 minute. So each 1 minute, for 1 minute, you have to try to, get and cross the Ukraine borders. So I managed to, after 2 hours, to, cross the Ukraine borders. And there, after that, there's one, military guy on the border. He walked with us to the Polish border. And there, we had to also wait another 1 hour and a half. It was crowded to get your, document checked and so on. But a lot of people, Ukrainian people, did not have passports, so they let them in without passports actually. So I, at the end, I managed to cross the borders of the Polish borders, and outside, the borders, whatever you call it, like a small, tiny airport, there was buses and cars waiting for us. And these cars are going to to Krakow, to Warsaw, to different cities. So I decided to go to Krakow because I know Krakow before. It's a beautiful city. And I asked the driver to take me to Krakow. And that was completely free. So the Polish people were very, very friendly and nice, very supportive actually. That's amazing. So they took me with other Ukrainian people in a bus. We arrived to Krakow, and then they found for us a hostel, a free hostel. So I went to the hostel, but there were, in each room there was like 4 people living there. So anyway, I had to adjust and be flexible. At the end, I stayed in that hostel. I slept actually on the sofa because there was no place. And on the second day, I moved to a different hostel. And then on the third day, I decided to find my own place, which where I am now. And also, Fluffita, she's still in Poland, but she's not with me because the landlord of this place does not accept, animals. So I give it to a very two lovely Polish couple. They are very nice people. We met them at the border, and they helped us a lot in many ways. Until now, actually, they are very supportive, and they are looking after Fluffita. So this is how I ended up in Krakow. At the moment, I'm living in Krakow. Krakow is a beautiful city, and I think in the meantime, I'm going to start to actually explore the city and make videos, about where I am and my experience in Poland. And also, I will make some videos about, the Ukrainian lives in Poland as well, because now there is almost 2 millions of Ukrainians living in Poland. Especially in Krakow, every 2-3 minutes I hear people speaking Russians and or Ukrainian. So there is a lot of Ukrainian now in Poland, and to be honest, I'm very kind of happy that I came to Krakow. It's a nice old city. If you have been, you understand what I'm talking about, but still I don't know much about it, so we are going to explore it together. I'm gonna make videos about Krakow, about Poland in every part, and in every area, and just reflect my experience about Poland. So from now on, we will start with the country of Poland. I hope the war in Ukraine will finish, because I love Ukraine and I do want to come back if everything was, if the war finished and things start to get better. But for now, we are in Kyiv, we're in Krakow, Poland. So let's explore this city. And if you have any ideas, any questions, any things you want to know about Poland, let me know, and I will go and explore it for you and tell you what I think. If you have arrived to that point with me watching this video, I'm very grateful and thank you very much. And make sure to subscribe, and I will see you soon with another video about Poland.